Hey, everybody, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because we've got a lot to say, not the least of which is the fact that Oasis has extended their tour schedule and may be coming to a town near you.
You're also going to find out why the years 1995 and 1998 have full circle moments for us on this week's episode. I'll give you a hint. It involves a ska punk. Is it ska punk, Sharon's?
Ska punk. I think it's ska punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show, everyone.
Ska punk. Get a load of this. I'm trying to come up with sassy ways of starting the show. Hey, man, season 13 is doing great so far. We're back. Adam is not. We haven't heard him or sent him away. He will be back with us, and that is good. But for right now, he's focusing on, how do you say, paying the bills?
Yep.
And our passion project has him working his magic behind the scenes. So thank you, Adam. Kelly, how are you?
Always magical, Sharon, ready to take some numbers and kick some butt.
Let's do it. You know what? In a snooze you lose kind of category, I'm going to spin it positive for you and tell you how you just saved $14.5 million. Kelly's going to give us some details on that too, actually. Also, we talked last show about how Gwen Stefani's new album is coming out, first solo album in 7 years. We'll tell you exactly what it is not.
Yeah.
On today's show. Kelly's trivia will make you ready for the next trivia night. You notice how I've in past shows I've always said, "Oh, it's going to kill you," or "It's going to be whatever." And now I've spun it.
Yeah.
It's going to make you stronger. Because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Kelly Clarkson.
We'll go toward the end of our favorite decade with a 90s rewind that always just happens to feel good. And also feels good. I mean, it was one thing that Oasis decided they were going to get back together and tour. Like, we've only been talking about that possibility for, I don't know, the minute after they broke up.
Yeah.
Now it's happening. We've got extended good news for that. So, Kel, let's start there. Oasis will be live in 25, and now they've added more dates to their tour that brings them to North America and Mexico. I love this, by the way. What I love also is that America, Oasis is coming. You have one last chance to prove that you loved us all along. Was part of their announcement. I love it. So North America includes Canada, by the way, and one show as far as I can see, which means that they'll play Toronto, because if they're going to play one Canadian show, it's usually Toronto. It is what it is. I mean, we're in Montreal. We like Toronto. It's fine and everything, but we'd rather, from a Montreal perspective, they come here also, if not first.
Do you think, Sharon, it's because our stadium sucks?
Oh yeah, well, you know what? We think it sucks, but I mean, Metallica had no issue selling out 2 nights
Yeah.
last summer, not the one we just finished, but 2023. Who else was there? There's been we're talking about the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and uh, in general, the sound there is not good. I'm happy that I went with not good. The first words that come to my mouth when I think of describing the sound of the Olympic Stadium, there's usually a swear involved. I did not do that. But anyways, maybe it's me. I know a lot of people also feel the same way, so maybe it's not just me. But I sort of think if Metallica can come and rock it up, then, you know, and thousands upon thousands of people will spend good money to see them, then they're okay with the sound there.
Yeah, because it's frustrating to me that because there's a lot of artists now on stadium tours, right? Like it's I don't know what the reasoning is, if it's like we can to prove they can do it. I don't know, or and obviously Taylor Swift, for example, can do it multiple times over.
Yeah.
But like it's frustrating knowing that yes, Metallica has gone, other acts have gone, but because we don't really use this venue here in Montreal for music performances very often, I'm like, is it because of that like Pink isn't coming here? Like I know she's come here and played our arena, and our Bell Center is amazing for sound.
Yeah.
And Madonna came and played the 2 nights here, again in the arena, not in the stadium. But I'm like, are we missing out on some of these big, like yeah, like Pink Summer Carnival, you had to go to Toronto to see it. Taylor Swift is not coming here. But other people do want to come, but it's like for arena shows.
Well, and to go back to Pink for a second, she did come here last November, and it was at the Bell Center, and
Mhm.
it was part of the carnival theme. It's just different because you're not out in the open. And I mean, Toronto wasn't out in the open either. They had the roof closed.
Yeah.
But when we saw her at Fenway last summer, that was pretty spectacular. I'm not sure if it well, I guess in particular, if we don't have a stadium that has great sound, then it's going to be a tough sell.
Maybe because it's
I
and I
th I
don't
think
think
of like Taylor Swift for sure because she sold out 6 shows in Toronto,
yeah.
which is
We would have sold out
bonkers.
a gajillion here also. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound too local to our audience that's listening. I know we have a lot of Americans that tune in and we actually have
Hmm.
some people overseas. I've been checking the stats. So just a big shout out to all of our peeps that are listening in Germany and Sweden and
Thank you.
places like that, and of course our lovely American friends. So we won't get too local, but and I'm assuming that this actually is probably a thing for many people in different parts of the world where maybe your city doesn't have an amazing stadium or it needs an upgrade or what have you. I'm sure there's many American cities that could use an upgrade, even though some other ones like I you know what stadium I always think is beautiful is Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Like
Oh,
that one is it looks absolutely stunning. Now, is it acoustically? I'm sure it is because I'm sure they've spent a gajillion dollars on it. But I'm
right.
sure there's other states that maybe you need an upgrade or whatever, and it doesn't sound amazing. So
People are in the same boat as us. Is that what you're saying?
I think there must be some of us in the life raft.
So back to Oasis for a second. The Toronto show will happen on the 24th of August. So you've got some time to save, meaning you'll have to buy your tickets by the beginning of October,
Mm,
which we're in, by the way.
mm.
Um, but you'll be able to, by save, I mean, you'll be able to recoup that money because you'll
Yeah.
have a year to get it all back. So they're doing a show in Toronto, they're doing Chicago, New Jersey, Los Angeles, and then they're going to Mexico. And they'll be touring with Cage the Elephant, which is cool because Cage the Elephant were actually just here too in Montreal.
Yeah.
We say we don't want to keep it local, but we keep on talking about Montreal. They're great live too, so that's cool. And
Yeah.
Oasis, I think I don't know, you're getting closer and closer to me. The idea of seeing them in the UK is very exciting. I don't have tickets. I just sort of think like if that could happen, that would be super cool.
Mm.
But if you're coming as close as Toronto, I don't know, man.
Are you gonna pull the trigger? That's what I was gonna ask Sharon. Pull
I
that
don't
trigger.
know. You know what? Like I was fortunate enough to see Pink a couple of times in Toronto for the Carnival tour
Mm.
and great seats. But I think what happened with when we went to see Pink at Fenway is that it created an impossible to reach standard for any other show ever again in my life.
Yeah.
Just because we went a little extra and spent the money and we had really good seats.
Yeah.
So for Oasis, I think having never seen them before, I would want good seats.
Yeah.
I think. Anyways, that'll cost money. We'll see, Cal. I'm just happy that they're touring. The fact that we've been talking about it for so long, pontificating, really,
Yeah.
if this was going to happen, and now it's happening, is sort of still kind of surreal. So I'm happy for the fans that will get to see these shows wherever they get to play. I'm happy that the Gallagher brothers have remained unchanged when it comes to their attitude.
Yep.
Like prove you love us kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be great. I think what at least the two, Liam and Noel, have done beyond Oasis is continue to perform and stay strong and write and create music. So they're ready. It's
Yeah.
not like, we got to get ready. They're ready.
Mhm.
They don't have to go to the gym and work out to prepare themselves. They are good to go. So that's exciting. And I think fans that are shelling out the bucks will be not even pleasantly surprised, but really well treated.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. Actually, speaking of working out though, I remember interviewing Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue a few years ago during
Mhm.
pandemic times. And
Yep.
he was talking about at that point, how his preparation has obviously changed quite a bit for him to get ready for tour now than it did when he was like, way younger and possibly on substances that he shouldn't be on.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated how he talked in the interview, like, he's working with a nutritionist, he has like a trainer, it sounds like, and then like there's certain like specific, you know, training things he's doing, exercises he's doing to make sure he's ready to go on tour. And I just think that's it's so amazing knowing like where the 80s came from and like the craziness that was going on and to
Oh my
see
gosh.
I'm very grateful that, he's still around and he was
Hmm.
such a lovely human. Like I really enjoyed our chat. And so I'm grateful, he was able to become sober and I think is an inspiration for many people. And so yeah, I think a lot of acts that need to keep going do keep have or at least have to keep it in mind like they need to prepare to go out on stage so they can bring it for 2 hours.
I think what they also realize as they've grown up out of, uh, young rocker stage of their life is that there's so much riding on them performing. They can't just, not do a gig. They
Yeah.
have there's the livelihood of hundreds of people that depend on them putting on a show.
Mm.
Not to mention the, thousands and thousands of fans that have spent their hard-earned money, you know, maintaining their fanship to this band, whoever the band is,
Mm.
that the older you get, the more responsible you become. Really, you have an awareness of that. It's not just you; it affects a lot of people. So you can't, just have an apple for breakfast,
Yeah.
or a bottle of something.
Yeah. And funny enough, last thing I know you're gonna move on to another topic, but I this is very timely. I just saw a message this morning from Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day.
Yep.
Did you see it, Sharon? Where he sent out this really it was I don't think I've ever seen him, and obviously I'm not a diehard Green Day fan, so I don't see his messages all the time. So
Hmm.
maybe he's like this, but he was extremely grateful in his message because the tour is wrapped and he just wanted to thank all of his fans and or the band's fans for being amazing, and he just said they had such a wonderful time and they will keep this in their hearts forever and they look forward to the next time they're back out. And I just thought like that was so lovely and such an evolution, I think, because I think when you're younger, and I'm not saying him specifically, but I think you take it for granted,
Hmm.
you can because you don't know like that maybe you're not going to last 40 years doing
Right. No,
having
it's true.
a band. And it was really I really loved his message. I was like, "Way to go, dude. Like, that's awesome."
I would venture to say also that, you know, especially someone like a Green Day, but a young sort of angry, edgy, rock band is not thinking they're going to be doing this for that long.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it for now.
Yeah.
Let's seize the moment sort of thing. But if you can ride it as long as I've been going back to the Rolling Stones a lot lately too, because I think for so long they were the punchline of, well, they're still at it, but punchline in a way that didn't discredit what they were doing,
Yeah.
because like you think now 60 years plus later and they're still making good music and touring. So the bar is set by this band, so anybody that's getting into the game now is probably thinking long term, and
Yeah.
what you have to do long term is make sure that you are healthy and able and doing all the right things. It sounds sort of contrary to the vibe of rock and roll being, you know badass, let's say, but this is where we are in 2024, soon to be 2025, when Oasis will be live in a town near you.
Very good.
Yeah. So that said, Kelly,
Yep.
are you ready to dish out some fun-loving trivia?
I am.
Oh, good. I'm ready to receive it.
Okay. Should I mention you're probably in trouble this week again?
Ah, I just think it goes without saying, but I'm glad you said it, I guess.
I'm gonna give you a choice again because Adam's not here. You must get something out of this. Do you want to start with art and literature or hobbies, toys, and games?
I want to start with art and literature.
Okay, here we go. All right. Complete the title of this Wally Lamb novel originally published in 1998. Here we go. I know this much is what?
True.
Yay! Go, Sharon. Woo! Just quick to 1998 for a second. As we're recording this tonight, in 1998, I was at a Janet Jackson concert in Montreal.
Ooh.
I actually had that thought. I was out yesterday and I was like, I was like the 29th and 30th. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's crazy because 29th of September was in Toronto. I took the train down the next day, skipped class at university
Ooh, yeah.
to go see Miss Thing in Montreal. And
Nice.
it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So there we go. Je regrette rien.
Oh, that's franglais, everybody.
That is, yeah. So now hobbies, toys, and games. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Sharon, so you just tell me how to pronounce it. Is it Tamagotchi?
Yep.
Yep. Tamagotchi is a mixture of the English word for watch and the Japanese word for which food?
Tamarind.
Pardon?
I don't even know.
I legit didn't hear what you said.
I said, oh, tamarind.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Egg.
Hmm. Wow.
But why would Tamagotchi is a mixture of the English word for watch? So watch egg? I don't know. Anyways,
What, did it hatch, maybe?
maybe a watch
I
the
don't know.
egg. And I would just like, I haven't pointed this out in a while because I haven't seen this in a while, but if you're a longtime listener of 90s now, you know that on these cards, they randomly write extra sassy bits
Right.
with the answer. So this one was egg, comma, duh, exclamation mark.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks
I'm
for
getting
rubbing
angry
it
at that.
in.
I'm like, there's no need. Like, just give me the answer.
Yeah, don't sass me.
Don't sass me.
Um, well, I got one, so I'll ride on that high for a while. And when it comes to saving you $14.5 million, dadgummit,
Yeah.
90s Now is the podcast to do that for you.
Yeah.
George Clooney saying goodbye to his, what they describe as his one-time bachelor pad.
Yeah.
So he just sold the estate, slightly more than a pad, in Los Angeles. For $14.5 million. 6 bedrooms, right, Kel? A
Yeah.
beautiful pool, some comfort beside the pool. I imagine if these walls could talk, it would, tell a Netflix series. He owned it though for 3 decades, bought it back in 1995 from Stevie Nicks,
Isn't that
whose
crazy?
Sidebar has just released a new song, which is very exciting. And at that point, talking about a return on investment, in 95, he bought it for 2.2 million.
Yep.
And now is selling it has sold it for 14.5.
It's crazy though because I don't know what the situation is now because I think they're partially in England because his wife Amal I believe is from England.
Mm-hmm.
But they spent many years in Italy, so I'm not sure if they're still kind of waffling back and forth between Italy and England. But I think he is in England because I think I read somewhere where he's neighbors with Brad Pitt on some level. Anyways, so I don't know how much this bachelor pad in Los Angeles has been in use for the last several years. So that's crazy that he was even just keeping that house on ice. You know what I mean? Because
7,000 square feet.
yeah,
A few guest houses aside from the main.
yeah,
Tennis court, pool. The kitchen looks exceptional. If I had 14.5, I would have been in the game. You know what I mean? But I
yeah,
don't have it. And, somebody else luckily got it.
yeah.
It looks like it had privacy and stuff like that. So perfect for, a young guy up and coming, succeeding in his career of
Mhm.
being a superstar. And now he gets to put that money toward other things, which he's also very good at.
Yeah, and that would have been 95 like ER days.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
He was I love that show. I absolutely love that show. I was religious about either watching it and or VHS taping it at that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah. You taped over my show.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was on the same night. Because remember how crazy must see TV was like on Thursdays? Like it was,
Thursdays, yeah.
and so it was like Friends and then ER would come on at 10 and like and
That
then
was
Will
it.
and Grace after a while was there too. So
Yeah, it was a whole it started at 8 o'clock.
yeah, because Friends was on at 8, right? 8.
Was it 8?
I think so.
Or
Was it
was it
8?
9?
No, 9 was Will and Grace.
You're right.
I'm trying to remember what 8:30 was though. There was,
I don't remember.
yeah, I'll have to check that. But it was obviously because, and obviously any show that would have come in at 8:30 had the Friends bump, right? So
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then Will and Grace such a strong. I know Will and Grace was at 9. I'd have to remember what 8:30 was. Oh, was it Mad About You? No, Mad About You was on Tuesdays, I think. Anyways, it was a strong lineup, and then like to cap it off with ER was My Perfect Thursday.
Oh yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Speaking of television for a moment, we should shout out a rest in peace to Drake Hodgeston,
Yeah. Yeah.
known from Days of Our Lives as John Black.
Yes. And Roman Brady for a while also.
Oh yeah, there was that for sure.
Yeah. I brought that to you, Sharon, for many reasons. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of soaps.
Yep.
I remember when I was like in the 90's, I believe at one point the highest number of soaps they had on the air at one time was 16, like 16
Wow.
American soaps. And I used to be able to name them all.
Oh wow.
And now, and it's funny, and I used to read like, and I still do. I don't think the magazine actually comes out anymore, but I read online like Soap Opera Digest. Like I think you go to soapoperadigest.com. Like, and so right now there's only 4 American soaps. It's Days of Our Lives, which has actually gone off television in the last few years. Sorry, I shouldn't say gone off network. It's
Right.
you can only get it on Peacock. And then My Jam, Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, which are 2 CBS soaps, they're still running. And then General Hospital is the only one on ABC running. And I'm such a huge fan of the platform of daytime TV. And so I wanted to bring it to that like our attention because of that. And the funny thing is I am not a Days of Our Lives fan. I do not watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very aware of the characters because of just following the genre. But
Sure.
um like Drake, like when I saw that he passed away,
Mm-hmm.
again, like I've only ever seen him sporadically on screen, but he is the epitome of like a soap star to me.
Yeah.
And because you just know it's like Drake from, from Days of Our Lives. And so it really hit me hard that
Oh,
he passed. And so I just was like, obviously a lot of people I think would feel the same way. So and like he has earned people's respects. And I can tell you, I follow a lot of soap actors on Instagram, and I cannot tell you to a person how many beautiful messages and tributes have come out about what a great human he was. And to a person, how much he loved his wife and his kids. So I thought it was important to just shout him out because a huge loss to the daytime community.
for
And
sure. I think the last time I would have seen Days of Our Lives, there was an exorcism
yeah,
with Marlena.
yeah,
Again, like I
again,
think
yeah,
it wasn't the first time she'd been,
possessed.
possessed by the devil.
Yeah,
Um, and he was a critical part of that exorcism. Come
yeah,
on, Doc. That's
yep. That's a
oh
good
my
one.
goodness.
Yeah,
So yeah, it is a very big loss. So
and
may he rest in peace.
and it felt too like no, like it felt very 90's to me. Him like because I think the soaps were at their peak in the 90's. Like it felt
Hmm.
like it. And so it just felt like also a good reason to bring it to our today's show because yeah, like he was part of a super couple in a way also with Marlene.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's get over to music, shall we?
Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about it last week that Gwen Stefani's new album is coming in November. So we're just a few weeks away, technically, now that we're already in October.
Yep.
Um, but not a country album. In fact, more yacht rock,
Yeah.
which I am here for.
Yeah.
My goodness, that's going to be good because we're kind of the same age. I'm a couple of years older than Gwen. But she talked about being inspired by all the stuff that she listened to in the wagon on the way to church growing up, which
Yeah.
is so like I listened to Casey Kasem's classic countdown, which is awesome because it alternates between the 70's and the 80's.
Yeah.
And I remember some of them, but also for me, it was like we would drive, listen to it, and after we go to church as a family, and then after get back in the car and be like, oh, I gotta put the radio on, Dad. Come on, we gotta hear what's number one.
Oh, that's cool.
Super cool.
Yeah. It's funny
Um,
'cause when you and I talked about her, like knowing that this album was coming out, I don't know exactly, but my thought was it would be very country because the first single sounds very country. And then knowing that she collaborated with her husband, I'm like, okay, so this is her country album. And then when I saw, I think it was literally the next day where I saw this art, it was like her telling Rolling Stone, this is not a country album. I was like, oh,
Right.
well, Sharon.
But what's interesting too is that country music in the era that she talks about, that is now affectionately known as yacht rock, country music was very woven into popular music. Like there were like on those countdowns, on the American Top 40 countdowns, you would hear country songs because of the crossover appeal and success to the pop charts. So I'm thinking, like, if it's not country, maybe it's like Olivia Newton-John-ish, you
Right.
know, who
Yep.
was country when she first hit the chart. So anyways, I think as far as a full album is concerned, if she's inspired by the music that got her into music in the first place, I think
Yeah.
that's cool.
And
I
I
think
think,
it's also interesting to think of the young Gwen Stefani and the, tank top and low rise, whatever the pant
yeah.
pattern, and sort of that high energy, to think that she was inspired by Pablo Cruz.
Yeah.
And sort of
Yeah.
I think it just proves that no matter what music you grew up on or liked or whatever, you can still do whatever you want.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's a full circle moment in the fact that, like, talking about George Clooney and ER, that's very 1995. To me, no doubt is very 1995. Like what you just
Yeah.
described, like that was the year it felt like. So yeah, it's kind of, this is like the 1995 year.
And think about it too, like what we were talking about with Green Day and the attitude of, Green Day or any rock band or any artist at the beginning. You're not thinking that you're in it for the long haul. So you have your attitude and you're working your attitude more than
Yep.
more than you are your music, let's say, or your attitude is selling your music. And look at this. She's
Yeah.
gone from spiderwebs
Yeah.
to what's the name of the first song? Somebody else's, right?
Yeah. Maybe she'll do
So
a hella good remix on this.
I love Hella Good. Love it.
It's such a good, like, get it all out song. Like, whether you need to get it all out or you need to exercise it out or whatever. It's good.
Yeah. And we came full circle on an exorcism. Very good.
Yeah.
So are you ready for your 90s rewind?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we were talking about 1998. That's where we are going, to the soundtrack of around this time in 1998. And maybe it's because we've just bid farewell to the summer of 2024 that I keep on thinking of summer thoughts. But from the summer of 1998, there was a little old film called Armageddon.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a little film with a title like that. P.S. But the soundtrack featured the gigantically successful I Don't Want to Miss a Thing with Aerosmith. Which to me, like, is it crazy that that song is 26 years old?
Yes, it's crazy.
Okay, good. How about this? 1 Week from the Bare
Oh.
Naked Ladies.
Good track.
Yeah, solid for them. Brandy and Monica, were they getting along? Probably off the mic, but on the mic, the boy is mine, is what we were hearing around this time in 1998. And more summer thoughts, Kel? Sure. It's early October, okay? I'm processing. Ace of Base and their cover of Cruel Summer was amazing.
Yep.
Then, of course, we have flashbacks to, was it the American Music Awards, where Pras Michelle and ODB and Maya performed Ghetto Superstar? And at one point, ODB was sort of lingering toward the edge of the stage, and Pras grabbed him by the jacket and pulled him back, and pyro went flying up. So basically saved him from catching on fire. So Ghetto Superstar, fun toe tapper, life-saving tune.
Yeah.
And the Beastie Boys, Intergalactic.
Such a great track.
Oh my gosh, that was a great one. And that is your 90s rewind.
Thank you, Sharon.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Kelly.
Appreciate it. And again, before you wrap up, just such a massive shout out to all of our listeners and viewers of 90s Now, because so excited to find out that just there's so many more people that are logging in and listening and downloading and following us and subscribing to the podcast. So our hats off to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Finding us wherever it is that you do. We do that at the end of every show too. We have many options you can find us for listening. And then, of course, the option to pass it on to your friends and loved ones. We appreciate that you're doing that too. We're just happy to know that our community is strong and gets bigger with every episode. So thank you for passing it on. And thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.